Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Flow game for the win! Ayla's gone! Goodbye, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh. Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Fans, how are you? Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Wednesday. Happy to be here. That means we've made it to the halfway point. Great place to be. The weather has been kind of yucky. It's been icky, really, and I don't know that it's going to change all that much anytime soon, I don't think, but it's okay. Plenty to get to, plenty to do, plenty to get inside and watch. The Chipotle Nationals begin today up at Hamilton Southeastern High School in Fishers, just northeast of Indianapolis. If you're a basketball fan looking for something to do, let me tell you, 11 of the McDonald's All-American players, or 11 players from the All-American teams there, McDonald's, will be there. So if you want to see some talent, it is going to be on full display, including Indiana commitment Trent Sisley from Montverde Academy and previously Heritage Hills, of course, down in Santa Claus, in addition to many, many, many others that you'll be able to see. These are going to be broadcast on the ESPN networks as well. So, but I'm looking forward to getting up there and catching Trent, and hopefully they can get a win and continue to move on in this single elimination tournament. Looking forward to talking to Dylan Sinn today as well from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, as we'll talk some football and basketball. Unfortunately, I know that for Indiana football fans, there's already an injury, a serious injury, coming much earlier than anything happened last year. But they will be out without one of the best wide receivers on their roster. He was a Michigan transfer, Tyler Morris, suffered a non-contact knee injury, but he'll be gone for the entire season. Which means he'll have another year next year if he so desires. But gosh, boy, you hate to see something like that in spring ball, and it's just nuts. But it makes me think back to what Teddy Bridgewater with Minnesota. He was out for 2.5 years, and he on an odd contact drill. I remember and saw the video of the drill. He was just retreating from center. So crazy how Indiana was able to avoid the injury bug so much last year. And then a non-contact injury like that will jump up on him. So you never know. Don't forget. I did forget. But don't forget. Hey, make sure. Go support the guys over at thehoosier.com. That is now on 3, and that is going to allow them to bring you all kinds of information, inside information. Joe Tipton, the guys that break the stories, the national stories, Steve Wiltfong, all of that. Yeah, it's a huge, huge deal. Just go to thehoosier.com. And got a dollar for the first month, and then a half price for the rest of the year. Talk about a bargain. That's like $4 and change for the month. So go support those guys. They'll be coming on and helping bring great content here to us as well. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, Jamie Shaw, one of On3's national basketball writers, will be with us to help talk about where Indiana is right now as far in their quest to fill their roster and the type of players that you're going to see, the type of ball you're going to see, the type of players you're going to be expecting to see get recruited. Then on Friday, Joe Tipton will be with us as well. So we've got tons coming up, but they could sure use your support. I have never really done that. So go help those guys. It's lunch money, man. It's lunch money. Please go to thehoosier.com. Help support those guys so they can continue to bring in all of the coming. And so, speaking of which, like I mentioned, the Chipotle Nationals today getting underway. Montverde, they play, I think it's like 6:10, something like that, thereabouts. I'll be in attendance, as will the guys from thehoosier.com. But I mentioned that injury just a minute ago, and I got myself distracted. I apologize. But he says we are, from Kurt Signetti, we are thin numbers-wise, that's for sure right now. We'll bring in a number of walk-ons in the summer of fall camp, which again is confusing me. I thought the walk-on thing was going away. I'm going to have to confirm that. I just read about that in basketball, so I am pretty sure that is the case. Now with football, it might be different because the numbers are so much bigger, but I still think that they were going to have a roster limit, and that would have included walk-ons. Tomorrow, when we have Coach on, we'll get this confirmed, or I'll just do it myself when I have a minute, which is not very often. But Indiana still has Elijah Serrato, Mark Cooper, and E.J. Williams as far at wide receiver, and Mekhi Jackson, Miles Kendrick, and others. But man, that was a weapon. And so it happens. But if it's going to happen, sadly, you'd rather see it happen early, and so you can replace it. But good things come to those who wait. Hey, we've got to take a break. Joining us up next, Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. On the other side, from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios, make sure you come back with us.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. while Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios, joined now by the great Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, as always, Jim.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I just mentioned a bit ago, the Indiana football team hit with an injury bug is something they were able to avoid mostly of last season, especially early on like this. And it was pretty significant, but not one that can't be overcome. It was the Michigan transfer wide receiver who was expected to get some balls thrown his way.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a guy who was going to be important for them in the slot, obviously they're losing Miles Price. They're losing Keyshawn Williams. So he was a guy who was going to try to step into that role. He had done pretty good work at Michigan, scored a touchdown in the Rose Bowl a couple of years ago. So it's one of those things where you'd rather the injury happen now because you can go get someone in the portal in the spring cycle, which opens April 16th. So it better happen now than in fall camp or something like that. But obviously not something you want to happen because Morris was a guy who they expected a lot from. So Chris Nettie has some work to do. He kind of admitted yesterday that they are thin at wide receiver right now. So probably expect them to add at least one more guy in the portal just to shore that up. And there will be guys that go into the portal, as we know, because you go through spring practice. You're not as high on the depth chart as you would like to be, even if you thought you would be back in January or February. So they'll have an opportunity to go get someone else and figure it out from there. And hopefully Tyler Morris can come back for the 2026 season.
What's the portal open for now? 45 days?
Well, for football, it's only open for 15 days, I believe. It's April 16th to May 1st.
What about the current basketball portal?
The basketball portal is open. It was 45 days or 30 days, I should say. 30 days.
30 days. Okay.
Because it was
goes
45.
through. It runs right up to this almost then, basically, right?
Yeah, it was 30. It was 45 last year. They changed it to 30 this year because the coaches realized that having it open 45 days was making it go into high school recruiting in the summer. So they're trying to get that done as quickly as possible. So 30 days from the day after the end of the second round. So that Monday. So I think it's probably another 3 weeks now at this point.
Yeah, it's just crazy. The portal in and of itself it's become a job, literally a job covering it, a job managing it for teams. I can't even begin to. It has literally become its own entity.
Yeah, it really has. It's a huge part of what you have to do now as you're building your roster. I do think that people have to remember that not only is it the portal is open for 30 days. That means players can enter for 30 days. That doesn't mean you have to sign all of your guys by the end. So if someone is still in the portal at the end of those 30 days, that means he can sign wherever after that. It's just you can enter in that time. And then of course there are grad transfers can enter whenever. People whose coaches leave can enter whenever. Like if your coach leaves for a different job, you can enter as soon as the coach leaves. So there are kind of additions on top of the number of days that usually that are for everyone else. So it is one of those things that never really goes away. It's always going on in the background, and it's a huge part of how you build a roster now in football and basketball.
Yes, it is. And basketball currently with 2.2 billion players in the portal. Not quite, but record number. I don't even know where that number is at this moment. It's nothing I even really care to keep up with how many. I'm like, It doesn't matter. You just put the whole damn Division I in there. I don't care.
It's thousands at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Nearly 2,000, I believe.
Yeah.
If not having already hit that. And I see, someone mentioned that, Xavier Booker, a former Indiana kid in the portal from Michigan State. I'm like, and to me, if you're leaving Michigan State and Tom Izzo, I don't even know if I want to give you a look personally. I'm serious. I mean, that would be my first thought.
Yeah, I understand that perspective. I will say Trey Holloman, their guard, who played very well against Indiana this year, he entered the portal yesterday. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he would be a really good addition for whoever ends up picking him up. I was a little surprised that he entered the portal because he was the one who earlier this season he kissed the floor against Michigan. He kind of did their whole I'm a Spartan type of thing. And then the day after the tournament ended, he entered the portal. I did not see that coming. I thought he was kind of a Spartan for life type of thing, but that's just kind of the way it is now. Is anyone can do it. And so I think he's a fantastic player. Averaged, I think, 9 points and a couple of assists, and just played really, really well every time I saw them play. So interested in him. Obviously, as you said, Xavier Booker as well. I think he'll probably end up somewhere where he can really show off his athleticism, because it is high level athleticism. Don't get me wrong. He just never
but is he more like a Hannah Moss Perea?
To a certain extent, yeah. I think he never really put it together with the Spartans. I do think that there is a world in which he goes somewhere else, gets a fresh start, and kind of takes a leap. But that's true with any of these guys, right? It's just a question of finding the right situation where you can be in the right system, get the amount of playing time that you need to thrive, and then let your athletic gifts take over. But he just never got there with Michigan State. Maybe he never does. And I'm sure he'll be somewhere kind of more mid-major-ish. Maybe there'll be some high major team that takes a flyer on him because of the athletic profile and because of the recruiting pedigree, because he was a 5-star at some point. But it will be interesting to see where he lands, because he was a good player in high school, but I never thought he was quite the top 5 player in the country that he was billed to be.
Just Fred popped up. I just missed it. I don't know where it went to, but Morez Johnson, he was one of my favorite players for Illinois last year. Just saw he transferred to Michigan, and they had a number out. Now I'm always afraid of those numbers. I don't buy into the numbers a lot.
It's always tough to get those. Yeah.
But just the fact that he went within conference, boy, that's the one thing. It's hard enough to deal with the 1 year, the year-to-year quote unquote contracts these guys now have. And that's not true how it is, but it is. But it's even harder for me within the conference. And I know we all keep saying, well, they need to do this and they need to do that. And it's easy to say, and it would be nice. It would be nice if you could not transfer within your conference. It would also be nice if you could only transfer once without having to sit at least for a semester at the very minimum. But they can't get anything to stick. And I don't understand why, because other organizations can't. Now, maybe that's the difference in officially declaring yourself professional, and that's the price they're paying by not declaring these athletes as quote unquote employees. So that prevents them from being able to do that. I still don't understand though why there cannot be multi-year contracts signed. Yeah. If you want to go into an NIL agreement, why can there not be a multi-year agreement signed? What's the difference?
No, I do wonder. Like, I am not a lawyer, so I don't know the particulars of that. I do have some similar questions myself. I do think it goes back to, like you said, I think that they are not employees, and so it's hard to sign actual contracts that are binding legally, right? So it's one of those things where a lot of this is really informal. And obviously because the players have agents now, there's going to be something that's written down on paper, but it's really hard to make it have the force of law behind it because they're not employees, right? And so it's one of those things where until they get to be employees, and I think we're getting there eventually, it's just going to take a couple of years because the NCAA and the schools really don't want it. I think for obvious reasons, there are reasons you don't want it because that's putting so many more employees on your books. It's going to be very, very expensive for the schools. It's going to be a cluster to try to get these guys to collectively bargain across the sports if we end up doing that. So it is going to be a huge headache for that to happen. I do think that that's where it's going to have to be eventually, though, because like you said, it really is unsustainable to have the entire sport essentially in free agency every year, which is essentially what's happening, right? Basically, if you're not in the portal, you are a restricted free agent, and if you're in the portal, you are an unrestricted free agent. That's basically all it is. And so
it's also, to me, it's an undue burden that you place on coaches. Gee whiz. I mean, you've already recruited these guys once. Either you want to be here or you don't. But that goes back to signing a minimum 2-year contract. How can there not be something? It's like, I don't understand. Is there a law preventing it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a law preventing it. My guess is that players are being told, hey, don't sign multi-year deals, because what if you end up getting better over the course of this season and
what if you get worse?
Yeah, well, that's the question too,
what if
right?
you're overpaid?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where
what if you want you're asking for X and they want to give Y, and to get a little bit better than Z, you do a 2-year deal.
Yeah, I think that's probably where we're headed eventually. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the particulars of why that isn't more prevalent. Maybe it is behind the scenes and we're just not aware of it. Maybe that's what agents are doing. But I do think it's one of those things where it's just really hard to have a contract between a school, especially now with revenue sharing. It's hard to have a contract between
Dylan have a little signal problem there. I'm gonna have you.
That's my.
Dylan, I'm gonna have you reconnect there, brother. If you can, I'm gonna have you reconnect. Your signal's breaking up a little bit. So if you
got
it, boy, you must have the Midas touch.
There we go.
Speaking of transfer, Connor Enright, one of the players that in for a visit to Indiana. Kind of deep ties to Darian DeVries. So that seems like an easy, natural fit. There should not be an issue with NIL. Common sense tells you that's probably an easy, you would think, done deal, but not so fast, my friend. There's always those looking elsewhere. But, and there are some people that Michael's not impressed with that signing. If they do get him, he says he was horrible last year, not impressed right now. Well, he wasn't horrible. You have to look inside the numbers, right, Dylan?
Yeah, I think Michael is saying that DePaul was horrible, and they weren't great. I mean, they won 13 games, I think it was, and obviously. Yeah. It was a step up from where they were the year before. And Enright did average 6.2 assists, I believe it was, second in the Big East. So he can distribute the ball. They're looking for a pure point guard and a guy who can shoot. Now, my concern is that he didn't shoot quite as well last year as he did when he was at Drake. Partially that is probably because he was there was more defense focused on him, would be my guess. And so hopefully if you get other guys around him and he can play off the ball a little bit, get some spot up shots, that he'll be able to thrive in that role as a facilitator and then an off ball 3-point shooter. So hopefully that is how that ends up working out for Indiana, if indeed he does end up signing. The only piece of concern I would say is that if indeed If you're looking for it to be a done deal, I would say maybe not quite yet, just because he is an Iowa native. That's one of those things where, you would like to think that his connections with Darian DeVries end up getting him across the line for Indiana, but there might be pulls elsewhere. So it's never a done deal until the player is in your uniform, suiting up for the first game of the season. So that's the one thing to remember about portal season is things can always change. So don't count your chickens, but obviously, hopefully, it seems like it's trending in a good direction with him.
Well, one that is final is Ryan Conwell. He's gone to Louisville, a player that a lot of people had looked at, former player at Indiana State during that great run that they had. But Louisville shows Pat Kelsey. People keep talking about the difficulty. Look at the job he did last year. A guy had come in from the College of Charleston. Boom. He was not Louisville's first choice and hits the ground like a banshee, man, and fills the roster complete. And now he's gone out and done it again.
Yeah, no, they had exactly the situation Indiana had coming into last year. They had 0 players on the roster after he took over. I think they had 12 or 13 transfers on that team last year. They had to go get just about everybody.
13.
Yeah, it's crazy because that's the thing is they didn't really have anyone in their high school class either. So they had to go get just about everyone, and they went out there, and that was what impressed me was that when they went out there and played Indiana in that Bahamas tournament at Battle for Atlantis, they played so hard and so connectedly for a team that had so many new guys. Because that was the thing. It wasn't just that Indiana played badly that day, although of course they did. It was that they really, really played hard. They played together. They knew what they were doing. And that was the first month. That was the first couple of weeks of the season, right? So it's not just that they figured it out over the course of the season and he got the right guys and they were able to figure it out in February, March. They were really good from the jump. That is kind of a platonic ideal of what I am looking for Indiana next year. I don't know if it's possible. It might have just been kind of a lightning in the bottle situation for Pat Kelsey because it's really hard to do that on a year in and year out basis. And obviously you need to recruit high school guys at some point. You can't turn the whole roster over every year. But the way they did that last year was so impressive to me. And it is the benchmark of what we want at IU from Darian DeVries is to do something like that, where you not only get guys in and get them to play together, but you do it early. So you don't have to really scramble toward the end of the season and have a situation where you're fighting on the bubble toward the end of the year, that you can build up some wins early in the season. Kelsey did a great job. I voted as an AP voter. I voted for him for National Coach of the Year. I think he deserved it. And if Darian DeVries does anything close to that, I will do the same for him.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard thing to duplicate, partly because Pat Kelsey did a great job. Do not get me wrong, and I think he was probably deserving of that. But Louisville also, he had the benefit of playing in the ACC, which we all know was not exactly the strongest basketball conference in the land last year, and that will not be the case for Darian DeVries. But we've seen what he can do at West Virginia. He built a program up there, and I think that he can do the same at Indiana with resources that are greater. And it has to be easier to pull people into Indiana than West Virginia, personally, I would think. So, but we're going to take a quick break. Man, I thought I was going to have to hit the refresh there a minute. Everything seemed to freeze up. Are you about to have thunderstorms?
We are having thunderstorms currently. It is really rough out here.
I heard thunder rumbling, baby.
Yeah,
little thunder rolls.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep the thunder rolling here. We've got to take a pause for the cause, but don't go anywhere. We're right back. They're very short. Right after this, from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more.
with a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music. You can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the hard truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the hard truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this beautiful, I don't know if it's very beautiful. It's not beautiful for Dylan. It's thunderstorming up there, and it's been very cloudy. It's been one of those yucky weeks, but it's not raining. It's not doing anything. It's not warm. It's just it's like a week on the moon or something.
I'll tell you, it's raining here right now. And it's tough because we have our minor league baseball team here in Fort Wayne. The Fort Wayne Tin Caps has opening day in Fort Wayne here on Friday.
Are you throwing out the ceremonial first pitch?
No, I'm covering the game, so it's one of those things where you kind of can't do that. But if they ever asked, I'd have to seriously consider resigning just to do it. Quite frankly, it would be tough to pass up.
Okay, this is just plumb ridiculous. I've lived in Indiana my whole life, so I get it. It's supposed to be 80 today. I'm not aware of that. That's jumping up. I mean, my God, yesterday, I think it was only a high of much less than that.
Yeah, it was like 55,
Tomorrow, 64. But hold the phone, Sunday, 47. With a low of 27. We're going to go from 80 degrees today to 27 on Monday. That's ridiculous in the month of April. But, I digress. I digress.
Spring in Indiana, baby.
Spring football continuing on until the spring game, which comes up on the 27th, right? I want to get that right.
Yeah.
On Thursday,
Thursday.
27th.
It was originally Saturday. They moved it to Thursday. Yep.
It is today. Today's the 4th.
Today's the 2nd.
Oh, the 2nd. I hope I got my calendar on. I do not have the calendar on the right.
Yesterday was April Fool's Day. So hopefully you didn't.
Yeah, that I did know. Although I did no fooling. I did no fooling around.
You always do fooling, Jim.
I am a fool, so I don't need to do April Fool's Day. It's every day is April Fool's Day for me. But glad to have you along, Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette with us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And make sure for those of you that live in the Fort Wayne area, we're up there on the Fan, one of our great radio affiliates. Make sure you not only keep it locked right here on the Fan all day, but be a subscriber to the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. You got to keep local papers alive. How do you think you get all that coverage of the Tin Caps and Indiana and Purdue and Notre Dame with Dylan going all over the place? That's how. So make sure you keep up with that. And I've got to throw in the plug. And Dylan big congratulations to Alec Lasley and the group over there at thehoosier.com. Now with On 3, it is going to be a gigantic change for a lot of listeners. Dylan, they may not always be familiar with these sites like On 3. The Hoosier was with Rivals for a long time, but made the move to On 3. That was because Rivals stopped covering basketball, and from a standpoint, and that wasn't going to work in Bloomington. So, but not only that, but On 3 is an incredible resource. You got Joe Tipton and Jamie Shaw and great people like that on the basketball side that are breaking these stories, getting inside information. So that is something that is great. So make sure you go to thehoosier.com and become a subscriber. You can do so for just $1 for the first month, and then it's only half price, which is like less than $5 a month, or maybe less than $4 a month, actually, I think. So there's that. Dylan's very familiar with it. Which guys do you know over there?
Yeah, so I know obviously Tyler Horka. He covers Notre Dame for On 3. I think it's Jack Sobel also covered Notre Dame for On 3. I know a lot of the Notre Dame guys for that site. They're really good guys. We obviously spent a lot of time together in January covering Notre Dame all over the place at these different bowl games and things like that. So I got to know them very, very well, and they're great guys. I'm sure that the Hoosier is in great hands at On 3. Looking forward to seeing how you guys make that transition, because I'm sure that there will be tremendous content coming out of the Hoosier going forward.
Thank you, sir. And those Alec Lasley, Kyler Staley on basketball recruiting, Zach Browning all over football and more coming there. With you got Coach Shannon that is always with us. He's in there as well. But Indiana still has to fill a roster, man, on the basketball side of things. And fans get a little nervous when they don't see him coming in, especially when they see Louisville landing Ryan Conwell. And Indiana's not always the fastest to announce things, for one thing. The announcement for daggone it, Drew Adams as assistant coach. Now that has been made official by Indiana. I don't know if you saw that, Dylan, or not, but
I had not. So I knew that it was coming at some point. Is that come out just recently here?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I'm trying to pull it up right now. I think apparently it came out yesterday. The first to post it was Jeff Goodman. It looks like that Indiana coach Darian DeVries has hired Bloomington native and IU grad Drew Adams to his staff as an assistant. But I kind of already knew that, since at the state finals that I was covering, and I took a picture and posted out of Coach's Row. Sitting on one side of him was Drew Adams, and on the other side was his former West Virginia assistant, Nick Norton, who was the only one wearing IU memorabilia or whatever.
Apparel. Yeah.
Apparel. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. He was, and the funny thing is, I took a picture, a wide shot of just the entire Coach's Row. It pointed out that he was in there, but so the first thing somebody asked, who's the guy wearing the IU thing? You could barely see it. You had to open it up and zoom in and look to see he had an IU thing on his back. But boy, they pay attention, man. They pay attention. And I know his fourth assistant is probably known. I haven't taken the time to get that one, but that means they're busy. Plus, again, Drew Adams, his dad, Mark Adams, ran the Indiana Elite program, but they've been involved in the AAU circuit in Indiana for a long time. That's just a great, great Indiana connection right there. So that starts with that. And no, it does not have to be an Indiana connection. I'm not hung up on that. I'm talking about the state, number one. And that is good because Indiana is the genesis for a lot of recruiting. You look at the teams Dylan covers, whether it's Michigan State, whether it's Michigan, whether it's Notre Dame. But many teams outside of the state. I mean, if you had a list of the Indiana players that played Division I basketball last year, it would be pretty long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of talent in this state, and that's part of the reason that Indiana is able to do what they do. Is you can recruit nationally. That's why Indiana is in such a good position, generally speaking, is because they can recruit nationally, but they also have a ton of talent in their backyard, right? And so I do think that Adams is a pretty significant hire because it does allow you to hopefully tap that pipeline, right? He was doing a very good job at Cincinnati, getting guys in there. He did a good job at Bradley before that. I think that's part of it, is that not only is he a guy with Indiana connections, but Darian DeVries was familiar with him from their days in the Missouri Valley together. And obviously, so DeVries was probably on some recruiting battles with him. And he's like, all right, that's a guy that I want on my staff. That tells you something, right? So I think that makes a lot of sense, not just because of the Indiana ties, but because of DeVries' familiarity with him. And if he has familiarity with him and says, this is a guy that I want, then you kind of have to think, okay, we can see the vision there. So him being a Bloomington native and having guys and having connections with Indiana elite, that's a bonus on top of it, right? He seems to be just a guy who's really good at recruiting just in general. So that seems to me to be the type of hire that Indiana needed, and then fill out the staff from there.
And hey, how about this point great point Laurie making? Got some shakeup in the coaching ranks. Of course, Indiana with a new coach at Indiana, but then you've got Ben McCollum, who is going to be at Iowa, and Buzz Williams at Maryland. Both of those are interesting stories to me. Ben McCollum at Iowa, because you're going to go from a program that was used to scoring 80 to 90 points a game to one that is scoring 40 points a game less than that.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, they'll probably sell a hell of a lot more popcorn in Iowa now, as you'll have plenty of time per possession to walk up and get you some and come back down. And then Buzz Williams, he was a fancy, we all thought a potential candidate, when truly no one was really a candidate for the job in the end. For Indiana, but we'll see what he can do. Leaving Texas A&M, that's a little surprising, but you think it's because he wanted to get out of the juggernaut SEC? But I can't imagine he's getting that much of a pay increase. Texas A&M's got money.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where this is just kind of what Buzz Williams does. He's been a head coach at 3 different schools in his career: Marquette, Virginia Tech, and Texas A&M. And each time he's kind of gone 5, 6, 7 years and then moved on, right? He kind of gets the itch to just go somewhere else. I think that's kind of what happened here. I mean, they were good this year. They were a number 4 seed. I was looking at this yesterday. They were a 4 seed in the tournament this year. I think they went 23-11. The 4 seed was the highest they've been since 2007. So really good job by him this year. And then going to Maryland, I thought it was interesting that the hire was announced yesterday, because it makes sense time-wise for Maryland, because obviously they just lost their coach a couple days ago, but also he had a buyout that was $10 million as of March 31st. And then yesterday it dropped to $1 million. So Maryland saved $9 million by waiting an extra day to make that hire official. So pretty good move there by Maryland. I think the way it's worked for Buzz Williams in his career at Virginia Tech and Texas A&M especially, is that he spends a couple of years building it, and then once he gets it going, it never stops. They're successful until he leaves. And so my guess is that it might be a little bit of a rough start for him there, because he's coming in behind the 8 ball with the portal. They're going to lose a lot of guys, and they might have a rough 2025, 26, but then he's going to get it going after that. I think he'll be very successful at Maryland. He's been successful everywhere he's been. And so we'll see. But yeah, he definitely goes from the SEC to the Big Ten, and has to play a different type of basketball here for sure.
Yeah, and that's going to be fun to see what the Big Ten looks like next year. We're not going to see. Obviously, we know what we're going to see at Iowa, which I'm not. I'll be honest with you.
I'll be honest. I don't think Iowa's going to be very good next year. I don't think that's not because I don't think Ben McCollum can coach. I think just going from that style of play, that super fast up-tempo style, to what they want to do, it's really hard to do that in one offseason. Even with the portal, even with turning over almost an entire roster, it's really hard.
But have they turned over their roster?
They're making an effort. They're trying. They lost some of their better players to the transfer portal. Owen Freeman's gone. Josh Dix is gone. Those guys were important for them. But even if you're not turning over your roster, it's even harder. My guess is that there's going to be some significant growing pains for them as they try to move from one system to the other. I think they'll be very good in the long run because I think McCollum is a good coach, but boy, year one might be a little bit rough.
And then what we've seen at Maryland with Kevin
Willard,
Rick Pitino protege. What do you expect? Any change there with Buzz Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be one of those things where they're going to play really, really hard. They're going to crash the boards. That's what Buzz Williams does. Is he gets a lot of athletes and just kind of puts them on the floor and lets them go do their thing to a certain extent. But he's really good at getting his players to buy into what he wants and getting them to play extremely hard. That's what I saw. I covered a game this year. Texas A&M played Purdue in Indianapolis, and they won that game against Purdue. I thought they played really, really hard. They crashed the glass. They did all of the little things, and they were good. I was impressed by them. So I think if he can do that, maybe not in year one, because he usually takes a couple of years to get his guys in there, even with the portal. But maybe year two, they are going to be a team to reckon with in the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah, and for Indiana fans, I think that I've said this over and over. I expect Indiana to be competitive next year in the Big Ten, and by competitive, you have to be in the upper half, and preferably in the upper quarter, which that's not easy to do, but you should always be in the top 5, in my opinion. But again, that's not as easy especially as it used to be now that you have 18 teams, but you have to be there. This is a program that needs look what Tom Izzo has done at Michigan State. I mean, that guy is almost one of the all-time he is, but when I mean all-time greats, all-time over everybody, because he has navigated every imaginable era. I mean, he's been coaching since Moby Dick was a minnow, man. And he has gone through all of these different eras into the NIL and portal era, and still put an incredible product, successful product on the floor. He's amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think he really fought against the transfer portal for a couple of years there, and he got a couple of guys, Tyson Walker obviously being a great example of a guy you can really get and make your program better. And then this year he really was like, all right, this is what we have to do. And he went out there and got a couple of guys, and he had a couple of guys in the system for a couple of years, and they went out there and made an Elite Eight run. It really was a kind of a resurgence for him as he kind of really figured out how to navigate the new era of the sport. And I know that he's not a huge fan of it. He's not a huge fan of the way things work now, but he's able to figure it out to get his team to the Elite Eight. And they might have gone to the Final Four if they had not run into a juggernaut Auburn team. So really, really good season from Michigan State. Now the question is, how can he follow that up? Because again, Trey Holloman in the transfer portal, Xavier Booker in the transfer portal. We'll see how many guys they bring back next year. But it is one of those things where he's been, I think it's 30 years as the head coach now. I think this was his 30th season, if I'm not mistaken. So he's just been doing it forever, and he keeps winning.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that Drew Adams is official, because that was just the report, which it's not that I don't know that it hasn't happened. Like I said, hell, I saw him myself in Indianapolis with Darren. And this is just a report from a quote unquote source, but this is one that I don't doubt. But I should not say it's official by something coming out from a piece of paper. But there you go. Also out right now on the Hoosier.com, The Last Dance. Trent Sisley returns to Indiana to close out his high school career. Are you going to make it down to Chipotle? Because it's probably quicker for you to get there than it is for me.
We will see. Like I said, I have tin cap stuff starting this week, but I will definitely try to make it. Obviously, that's
Well, let me tell you something. This is indoors.
yes. That is a good point. That is a good point. So it might actually happen. Because it is a chance to see Trent Sisley before he puts on an Indiana uniform. Obviously, a guy who has been very, very good throughout his high school career. I've been impressed by the way he's been able to make the transition from IHSAA to Montverde. I think he did a really good job there this year, kind of filling a role, but also still being very, very productive. So excited to see what he can do in that tournament as well.
Absolutely, and hopefully, the great thing is, even though he did not get to play his senior season in Indiana, he gets to play his final game in Indiana. Very cool. It sucks that he did not get to be a part of the All-Star and Mr. Basketball race and all of that, because he definitely would have been an All-Star. He was a junior All-Star last year, and obviously playing on one of the top teams in the country. It kind of stinks that those guys can't be considered. But I get it. And it is what it is, because we're going to see a lot more of that in the future, guys going to prep school, whether it's at La Lumiere, which is still in Indiana. And I'm a little surprised there hasn't been another academy open in the Indianapolis area. And I would not be surprised to see that happen at some point.
Absolutely. Because I mean, there's just so much talent that could go there, but also it's nice that we get as many guys as we do sticking around in the IHSAA, because that's high level basketball too, right? And so I guess I understand why you can't have those guys that go to like a Montverde or a La Lu be part of Mr. Basketball, because they're not really playing against the other guys in the state, so it's hard to compare, right? But there is just so much talent in the state, and it's really good to see, especially at the state finals last week. Like the games were so close, so competitive. It really was a showcase of the best that Indiana has to offer, which is of course what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Always a pleasure, my friend. What's up next for you quickly?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tin Cap starts on Friday, but of course I am following all of the portal news for Indiana, Notre Dame, Purdue, all of it. Purdue obviously going through some portal stuff right now. They got Oscar Clough from South Dakota State, so I have stories on that, and more coverage as we go on here. So plenty of stuff going on, basketball, football, baseball, all at once here. It's the busy time of the year.
Looking forward to it, brother. As always, thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.
Absolutely, Jim. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Thank you, sir. Hey, that's going to wrap it up for this hour. We've got more coming up. Kyle Neddenriep, Rick Bozich will join us on the other side from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum, Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza,
burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday, and that means a visit from our friend Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star. And Kyle, I was in Indianapolis last Saturday night for a cornucopia of great basketball, just like this year's college Final Four should be, with all 4 #1 seeds there. The tournament, people have complained because not the Cinderella's disappeared, but the ratings have never been higher. And these are the games people want to see, just like last Saturday night. Those games were great. They went down to the very end. I mean, 4A goes to overtime, but 3A, it did everything but go to overtime.
Yeah, it was probably the best overall day that I've covered in almost 2 decades of doing this. And from top to bottom, it was, the first game with Orleans, Clinton Prairie was sometimes that 1A game, the gym feels, or the arena feels a little bit empty, because the schools are smaller and, it's morning and it kind of takes a while to get ramped up. Well, that definitely was not the case on Saturday. Orleans showed up in full force. You knew they would. Clinton Prairie, I couldn't see their crowd as well. They were kind of behind me and to the right, but they had a great crowd as well. So I think as expected, it turned out to be the biggest crowd. It was over 10,000 for the morning session or the early session, which is the best in 7 years for that early session. So, yeah, it turned out to be great. But, yeah, every game, the odd thing was every game was closer than the one before it. So that was kind of the interesting thing as it ended up. But all 4 games, and the Orleans game ended up 9 points. That was closer than that even. So, just a phenomenal day. And of course, ends with the Jeff Fisher's game, which was phenomenal. The Addicts South Bend St. Joe game had drama. It wasn't probably as crisp as the shooting wasn't fantastic in that game, which sometimes is the case in an NBA arena. But it was that was a phenomenal game. The 2A game with University in Manchester also was great. So you just had a full day of every game going down to the fourth quarter, and even the championship game going to OT. So and the 4A game, I mean. So it was you couldn't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, and that game was kind of back and forth. Fishers led for the majority of the first half, but then toward the end, Jeffersonville kind of took over and they got themselves a lead, led at the break, and for the majority of the third quarter, I think, and then Fishers made themselves a run, got back in it. Jeffersonville had a shot to win it at the end, unbelievably, with Trey Singleton having a clear shot right dead from dead square range, about 6 feet out, wouldn't go down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if that comes back to haunt them, that's just something you would carry for the rest of your life. But Jeffersonville able to finish it off 67-66, their third state title, I believe. And also our good friend Sharon Wilkerson becomes just the third man to win as both a player and a coach in Indiana basketball history, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second actually to win at his alma mater and as a player.
Yeah, I count the third, Pete Turgovich, because it was consolidated of his old school. So I'm going to count him in, but maybe I shouldn't. But yeah, second, just one of two sounds much better.
Yeah, and only the sixth to ever accomplish a complete, just to do it as a player and coach. So that's pretty awesome too. So that's one of those.
Damn near did it twice.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. So, but yeah, Tron, pretty cool for that story to come back full circle. Really happy for him to accomplish that. He's been open about his kind of his redemption story, and he
Is
took
there
over.
is there any better redemption tour than that? I mean, that's all I think about because he's a good friend. I love him to death, and I just have so much respect for him. And I'm like, I've never seen a greater 180, a greater redemption. I mean, this is full circle, man. This is real stuff.
Yeah, that's what sports is all about, man. I mean, it's that's the stuff that makes it really cool, and the fact that he's leading not only a team to the state championship, but the school where he had Mr. Basketball stripped from him, and obviously had his issues at IU and all that, but yeah, I mean, I will say this about, and I've known Sharon for a long time too, and he never, he's never like, man, I'm done talking about that. Or, he's never been like, quit asking me about it. He's always, he's always willing to go there, which I think is a credit to him. And, it's a team that of seniors too, that I think he's really close with. He's hard on them. He coaches them hard, but they respond well. And, to see those guys come through, in that moment, I don't know if there's another team that could have beat Fishers anywhere. Westfield Westfield matched up well with them, and Westfield's very, they'll be lost to history because they didn't win a sectional or go anywhere. But that team was very tough, very good. They matched up pretty well with Fishers too, but they didn't have the big guy like Jeff did with Singleton. Singleton played such a great game. And with him being healthy, I think we probably overlooked them slightly throughout the season just because they started 6-5, and we didn't know if he was going to get back to full health exactly, throughout the year. But he played great in the semi-state. And, when you got a guy like that, you can kind of relieve pressure because he can handle the ball too. You can pull your big guy out and have him handle the ball to relieve that pressure off of Michael Cooper, which they did quite a bit. And that helped because when you got John Anthony Hall trailing you everywhere like Cooper did, it's like a marathon, like you're running a marathon. And Cooper's trying to score too, so he had a lot on his plate. Douglas was in foul trouble for a lot of it. He played most of the game, but he was still kind of saddled with those fouls throughout. He made some big plays, and then Sean Boyd, man, he came up with some huge plays, some big shots. Another senior who's been around forever. So great story, Jeffersonville and Fishers too. Great story for them, to get to that point. They were a 43 game winning streak that you just don't see that happen, and a lot of pressure on them. I thought they handled all that really well. They were probably better this year than last year even. So, just a great game. I mean, so much, storylines and everything, and the game lived up to it, which that doesn't always happen that way.
Oh, absolutely. And what's John Anthony's last name again?
Hall.
John Anthony. That's what I thought. I wanted to make sure. I always describe John Anthony Hall this way. When you see whether it's teams or Adidas or whatever, showing what a new uniform is going to look like a football uniform, the mannequins they use that are sculpted with muscles, that's John Anthony Hall in real life. He looks like a sculptured athletic mannequin. And I'm like, how can you look like that in high school? Yeah. This kid is going to Stanford to play football, so he's obviously extraordinarily intelligent as well, but he looks like he came out of a lab.
He really does. Him and it's like, man, when we look back, him and Mark Zachary being in that same class together, and Zachary's built, obviously a lot different. He's rangy, long, but those two, man, and you're right, John Anthony's built like, it's a good way to put it. I've never thought about it that way, but he is just he's a man out there, and he can in the way he can jump off the floor. He's a great track athlete too, and he could win the long jump this year in state. If he puts it all together at the end of the spring here. But in my opinion, he's an Indiana All-Star. I know he's he might have a conflict with track there that weekend, but I don't know. I feel like they need to put him on that team for sure.
You can, unless it's a regional or a sectional or something. which I guess it would be that late, but you can do both. But yeah, that's going to be fun. And South Bend St. Joe, Micah Shrewsbury's kid, Nick, he was kind of the guy there at the end to get that done. That was kind of fitting to see that. And all of the coaches that were in attendance. Micah Shrewsbury, of course, there to watch his son, but also there as a coach. Darian DeVries, the new Indiana coach, along with Drew Adams, one of his new assistants, Nick Norton, one of his other new assistants, AJ Moye was there, Chris Collins, one of his assistants, the guys from Miami of Ohio, UIndy. I'm sure I'm missing some. Surprisingly, where was Matt Painter?
I don't know. I know obviously they're coming off the tournament loss, but yeah, I'm not sure if they were hosting recruits or what. Well, I didn't see any pretty coaches there actually, which is kind of unusual. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they, as much as I see him and his assistants out on the recruiting trail, obviously there must have been some sort of conflict. But it was fun for me. I got to see. I didn't get a chance to talk with all of them. I talked to Christian Smith. He's at Miami of Ohio, covered him in high school. Brian McIntosh at Northwestern. He of course played at Greensburg and won 2 state titles. Tony Wills played at Ben Davis. He's on the IUBB staff. So a lot of guys makes me feel old that I cover all these guys in high school and now they're college coaches. But pretty, really good college crowd, college coaches crowd there for this year. I thought that was impressive. And Darian DeVries being there, obviously the highlight because he's the new coach at IU. But yeah, a lot of coaches there. A lot of them spent either at least the full second session or some were even there for the full day completely. A lot of small college coaches were, so that was cool to see.
Absolutely. And then today starts the Chipotle Nationals begin up at Hamilton Southeastern. Are you heading out there?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Trent Sisley's game at 6:15, I believe it is.
Yeah,
so.
I look forward to seeing you there tonight. But, man, 11 McDonald's All-Americans playing in this tournament. That is I've been telling people, you want to go see some great basketball? It's in your backyard, people. They brought it here for a reason. So I hope that the people will go out and support that to keep that there, because then now you're talking all of the basketball that happens within the framework of 45 days in Indiana between the conference tournaments sometimes. Then you got first round or second round of the NCAA tournament, the Final Fours eventually, NIT going on, the high school state finals going on, divisions 2 and 3. So this is the place for for basketball. Go support that thing because there's incredible talent that you're going to be seeing on some of the best college teams next year.
Yeah, just come up and watch. It's going to be fun. I think last year I wasn't here because I was at the Final Four in Phoenix with Purdue, and so I didn't get a chance to go to it at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing it this year. I don't know how many days I'll be there necessarily, but definitely going tonight, and looking forward to being there and seeing some good basketball and some really talented players that. We obviously don't get to see all these guys. I actually haven't even seen Trent play since high school, since he was at Heritage Hills. So looking forward to that, other than watching some video stuff. But yeah, and then, watched the McDonald's game last night. So some of those guys obviously will be in attendance for this as well. So that's going to be awesome.
Well, brother, I appreciate you, and we'll see you tonight probably.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star. Make sure you're giving him a follow, keeping up with all of the coverage concerning Indiana high school basketball and football. Hey, up next, Sir Rick Bozich joins us. We'll check in on the White Sox. They won their opening game, by the way. Cincinnati did not. But we'll see how things have gone since then. And much more on the backside from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more.
with a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music. You can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. And you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday. Sir Rick Bozich from WDRB.com and the Chicago White Sox PR team joins us now. How are you, sir? How are the Sox?
They're doing okay. They're 2-3. They blew a game last night. Last year they started 3-22, so they're slightly ahead of pace.
As I said, I sent you a text last week that said, hey, the good news is they're expecting to win more games. But the bad news is they thought they were going to be the worst team in 35 years. But that's what I love about sports. Even professional sports doesn't always go the way people think it's going to go. That's why right now when I see all of these, someone put out something about Indiana was picked to be an underdog in football in 5 of their games next year. I'm like, well, first of all, that's an absolute joke. Against who? How do you know who's going to be what? You don't know anything about anybody. That's one thing I have learned. Until the games start, you're not going to have an understanding about these teams, because look at Kansas basketball. I think that they were ranked #1 if I'm correct, and how'd that end up? So the portal has changed everything. These preseason top 25s are a joke. They should be banned. I think that is just a joke. But yeah, man, I hope the Sox get it going. That would be fun to see. I saw somewhere that Tim Kirchin said he thought he was expecting a lot out of Eli De La Cruz and the Reds, and I'm like, don't put that kind of pressure on them, man. They don't need it.
Yeah, didn't they get shut out? I guess was it last night? I don't know. The night before, I don't know.
I know the first game they gave up a 9th inning lead.
Yeah, opening day they lost. Then they gave up. The bullpen gave it up. It's a long. The only thing that I'll be comfortable predicting is the Dodgers will be in the playoffs. That's the only thing I'll be confident predicting. I don't know if they won last night, but they were 5 or 6-0 to start the season.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers are like the New York Yankees of baseball now.
Yes, they are. They're the most well-positioned, economically fortified team in baseball. No question about it.
Big old fat payroll. Yeah, they've got it all going on. I have not been able to follow. How many games have they played so far?
They won last night. They beat the Braves. They're 7-0, and the Braves are 0-6. So
I cannot believe it. MLB is not. Oh, there it is. Just wanted to pull that up. I haven't been able to follow my Reds just yet. It's too early in the season, but there's all kinds of stuff coming up. I've talked about the Chipotle Nationals
are going on. I don't even think about this stupid crown tournament. I haven't even given it one thought, not because I'm boycotting it or anything. It's just, it's not in my mind. It started too late. I don't understand. There's no conflicts. Why not just go there? You have different teams, play it on different days. But I think the late start, maybe I'm wrong, but I've not been following it personally.
The only game that I followed at all was I didn't follow it. I just saw the score. Was it Cincinnati beat DePaul, and that was only because I was looking to see if JJ Traynor was still playing. Former Louisville player was still playing for DePaul, and he's already gone in the portal, so he didn't play in that game. And so a lot of these teams that are there aren't.
That's another reason.
Not their full roster. Their portal guys aren't there, so I don't see how it could possibly make any money. Why would anybody in Las Vegas want to go watch it? Why would fans of these teams want to take off work unless they just want a Vegas trip to go watch it? And you can have a lot more fun in Vegas doing something else than that.
Yeah, you're going to go out there and watch crappy basketball, or these are the crappy teams that couldn't make it in to the very end of where the crappy teams are. The NCAA are. So yeah, that
makes no sense.
I don't. See
I know that Nebraska and USC are in it also because they're the Big Ten teams. That's all.
Yeah, I know Nebraska won their first game. I did know that. And I haven't seen it since to see where they are. I did see Val Kilmer died. Daggone it. That sucks. But oh well, if it was that important, it would be more available. But now we've got your Louisville boys just picked up Mr. Ryan Conwell. What a great pickup out of the portal that was.
Yeah, they've had a tremendous week. Earlier in the week, they got a guard who's ranked even higher than Conwell in some of the portal rankings. Adrian Woolley from Kennesaw State. He was the leading freshman of the year in Conference USA. So that gives those two guys, and Michael Brown, who's a McDonald's All-American. Louisville's got a dynamite backcourt for next season, probably as good as any in the country. So they're on their way.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but Pat Kelsey is, he's kind of like Tom Izzo. He's not real tall. How tall is Pat Kelsey? You've been around him a lot.
I don't know, 5'9", 5'8".
So, and I'm only saying that because, man, nothing is holding him back. Nothing is stopping him from being successful. When you see him talk, he's just a normal, down-to-earth guy, comfortable, confident. I mean, he was such an unbelievable get for Louisville.
Yeah, he did a great job this year. I mean, they went 18-2 in the ACC. I think they went from 19-game improvement, 8 wins to 27 wins. Beat Clemson, had a really good year. And now he's got a lot of holes to fill, but he's off to a really good start getting those two guys. And Conwell, obviously, both these guys they picked up are 40% three-point shooters, so it's obvious that that's a priority with him. So to get two of the best three-point shooters out of the portal, tremendous start for Pat Kelsey. So we'll see what else they get, but they got more guys to get, and I'm sure they will. It's just getting started in the portal. I saw that Mackenzie Mbako was visiting Kentucky today.
I saw that as well. That'll be interesting. What are your thoughts? You've been around Mark Pope. You've seen Mackenzie Mbako, great shooter, but boy, lacks in defense. I think his motor has a governor on it. It seems so.
Yeah, it's real hit and miss. I think Pope is a strong enough personality that he'll convey the message that there's a certain culture here that is going to be adhered to, and if you can buy into that, get on board. If you don't think that's for you, then you probably need to look elsewhere. Since we don't ever really get to talk to the IU players, or didn't get to, I don't really know enough about Mbako to know whether he would be interested in doing that or not. But I agree with you. He can do a lot of things, but there's a lot of things he either doesn't do or won't do, and defense is near the top of the list.
And that brings up, well, obviously, Why wasn't, well, you don't know the answer to this question, but you would think Mike Woodson would have used him in some form or fashion, even though he was not big on the 3-point shot. It just seemed like there was never a great integration with McKenzie and Baco. And I guess everything because it all ran through the middle, but it's like you can't just be that one sided.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this. His skill set was too similar to Renew and what was the big Ballo, that they didn't really fit well together as a group. So he needs to go somewhere where, it's a better fit for him stylistically. Frankly, I was surprised that he came back for a second year last year in many ways. But and Renew is down to what, Michigan and Auburn, did I read? Miami. There's 2 other ones. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember them all. There's so many guys in the portal. Caleb Banks, I heard, was visiting Purdue.
Is that right?
That's what I heard.
I haven't seen it, but I don't doubt it. It is amazing to see his development. I mean, he went to Tulane and got better, got more minutes, and that's what it takes.
To play 30 minutes a game, yeah.
And that's what it takes. And these guys don't get that. And if you don't, I guess they go to a place thinking they're going to play, no matter where it is, don't get to play, and then realize, all right, well, I need to do this. So they've kind of wasted a year in doing that. And I think of he's the quarterback that committed to Indiana this year that was committed to Ball State, decommits to Ball State to go to Indiana. And I'm like thinking, what a wasted year, dude. You have no chance of ever. I don't think you'll ever see the field in anything other than a mop-up role because of Fernando Mendoza with 2 years of eligibility remaining. And then right behind him is Alberto Mendoza. So I think that they're going to end up following each other just like they did in high school. And he could have gone to Ball State, got a year, maybe 2 of experience, and then transferred. But I guess an opportunity to go to a Big Ten school, one like Indiana, just went to the college playoffs. You can look at it. You're going to get better coaching. So I don't know. Who am I?
Maybe he's just a competitor who wanted the challenge, and they convinced him.
And boy, you would sure love that.
He would want, that he would get a chance. Fernando Mendoza might have the kind of season this year that he could go pro after 1 year. So maybe he feels like he can compete for the job in another year. And we all know in college football, most teams end up playing 2 guys because somebody's going to get hurt. You hope it doesn't happen, but it frequently does.
Well, it just happened to Indiana. They just lost a wide receiver for the season.
That was a big loss yesterday. I saw that Mr. Morris from Michigan, who was going to be the starting slot receiver, gets a non-contact, probably just running a route or whatever, and his knee gave out. So that's a big loss.
Teddy Bridgewater.
We'll have to find somebody in the second part of the portal, maybe to replace him.
Yeah, and that'll be there without question. And so they're fortunate that happened now and not later. Not that you ever want to see that happen. That's terrible. Ryan Conwell again. Oh, I've been telling people they've got to relax on these numbers that they keep seeing because I do not believe them. But Laurie ask him if Conwell got $4 million. I find that hard to believe.
I had never heard 4 million. The number I heard last week was 2 million. So who knows?
Yeah. Whenever I hear a number, I think, well, either cut it in half or cut a third off it at the very minimum. And so, yeah.
Yeah, 2 million is a lot of money for one player.
Well, hell yeah, it is. I don't think that an IU player up until this point had received that, but that will change this season without question.
Yeah, I had heard the one speculation was earlier that the Owen Freeman kid from Iowa, who's going to Creighton, I heard he was getting 2 million. So maybe that is the top of the market now, 2 to 2.5 million. I'm not sure. And
until the NCAA is able to get a cap on this yearly ability to transfer, it's going to continue to drive the market up, which is great for players. And I'm not trying to cut them, but it makes it so much, adds expense to every school, because now you've got your recruiting has doubled. Your recruiting efforts have to double. You have to hire more people to keep up with the stinking portal. The portal is going to become, I said earlier, it's its own entity now, but you're going to have your own complete portal division, which might be the biggest division of a program that there is. And
not just for men's basketball, but you probably need one for women's basketball. You need one for football. And if you're going to be competitive like IU wants to be in swimming and men's soccer and a couple of other sports, you probably need to have somebody who's got their eye in the portal in all those sports.
I am amazed. Todd Yeagley has continued to succeed at the level that Indiana soccer has succeeded at through this transfer portal era. They have not missed. They have not, dropped a bit. They are the same competitive, high-level elite program year in and year out, and he does it with a core group of regional players in addition. But the fact that he has been able to continue that, I know we're talking a different sport, but it doesn't matter. Soccer is big business other than in America. So I'm really, really surprised he's been able to keep his level of elite play up.
Yeah, the bigger challenge for IU soccer has been that so many other schools now are loading their lineup with foreign players.
Please do not mention Morehead State to me. I think that they should be kicked out of soccer.
Vermont won this year. I think Vermont won the men's championship, and Marshall's the one that has
Marshall. That's who I'm thinking of. Marshall.
Yeah, it was all
I
German players and Brazilians and Argentinians and England. I mean, but they're not. That's everywhere, Jim. That's everywhere. I mean,
I think that you should be just like the European Basketball League. I think you should have a limit of foreign players that can have on your roster.
I agree, because I think most of these kids anyway that are foreign players are older and more mature, and they played higher level of soccer overseas than they have here, and it's obviously working out for them because those schools are winning.
Where is a school like Marshall getting the money for these?
Great question. I don't know. West Virginia, though, I think after Marshall started having success, West Virginia, who's their rival this year, followed the blueprint, and I'm pretty sure they were ranked number 1 part of the year. So it's definitely becoming a thing where everybody's loading up on foreign soccer players. Smith's not leaving Painter. Who said that he was?
You know how the crap out there is. People thinking, oh, he's going to go test. No, I've said it over and over. He will not leave Purdue. I don't care. Somebody could come in, I think, with an NIL offer, $1 million higher than what he's making right now, and he would turn it down. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, he's got a chance to go down as an iconic player at Purdue, and if you leave after
and the state of Indiana,
you walk away from that, and he's going to be down there with Rick Mount and Billy Keller and Joe Barry Carroll and on, Zach Edey, Troy Lewis, Robbie Hummel, all those, the great players in Purdue, Russell Cross, I can't name them all. They've had so many of them, but he'll be in the record book everywhere. I would be shocked if Braden Smith left Purdue. He's got a tremendous relationship with Matt Painter. They're going to have a really good team next year. I mean, don't they have almost everybody back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his core players. Trey Kaufman-Renn going to be a senior?
Yeah, he's back.
Wow. So
back.
So
Smith's
that means Lawyer. Yes,
Heidi's back.
And,
CJ Cox is back.
Now, didn't he lose one of his Will Berg to
Berg
the portal?
left, Yeah, he
but
didn't play that much.
he still has another gigantoid over on the bench, I believe. And if not, he'll find another one for wherever.
The kid who got hurt was actually looking pretty good early in the year. And then they got a 6'11" guy out of the portal this week from somewhere out west.
Yeah, Indiana, it's going to be interesting because Indiana's offense is going to be one that I think Indiana fans are going to be very happy to watch. It's going to be much more modern, going to get up the floor a little bit. They're going to shoot the ball. They're going to play defense. They're not going to run things through the paint. I am interested to see how Darian DeVries is going to deal with the quote-unquote big man situation. It would be nice, boy, if you could land somebody like a Danny Wolf. To me, that is what a modern, successful, elite college basketball team could look like.
Yeah. Problem is there aren't many of them out there. And there's another guy who's killing in the portal, Dusty May.
Imagine that.
They've already got two pretty good players, I think, out of the portal. Yesterday was the big kid from Illinois. Johnson is
yeah, Mortez Johnson, yeah, one of my favorite. He was a freshman, and before he got hurt, and that's part of what Illinois. I really believe that had he not gotten hurt, Illinois would have been able to do more than what they did. But yeah, boy, that's a great pickup because he's a vicious forward and can get some damage.
They got a guard too, though. Although their guard Donaldson went in the portal, so they also picked up a guard. So I got to look it up who it is. But yeah, Dusty's doing okay.
It'll be interesting to see when Darian DeVries starts pulling in the names. Connor Enright is one that visited recently, and well, I think he's on a visit. Was it yesterday? I guess.
Yeah,
I get him confused. There's so many.
And Josh
Dix yesterday as well, and so both of those guys. And he's all he already has Tucker DeVries. I'm gonna go watch Trent Sisley play tonight up at Hamilton Southeastern. Yeah, the Chipotle Nationals begin tonight. Those games are available on the ESPN family, by the way. But
is this up in Fishers?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, it seems like it's a million miles away now, and because it's on the far northeast side of Indianapolis.
Is it at Fishers High School? Or
yeah,
is it at
Hamilton Southeastern High School.
Okay, all right.
They don't play until 6:00.
This is This is like the
Chipotle Nationals with the top 8 teams, 11 McDonald's All-Americans in this tournament, which you had the McDonald's All-American game last night, but I think the majority of those guys do not play until Thursday. There are 2 games tonight. Trent Sisley's Montverde squad opens up play at 6, and then there's a game at 8, and then more games following tomorrow. So, but yeah, 11 McDonald's All-Americans in there. The Boozer brothers, obviously the son of Carlos, but had AJ Moye on yesterday, and I always love when I have AJ on because
was he at the McDonald's game?
No, he was at the state finals over the weekend though.
Oh, okay.
Got this. That's my. There you go, right there. I was there for that moment. You were too, I'm sure, probably.
Yeah, I was not. 40 was there. I was actually in Syracuse with Kentucky.
Greatest. That's that's my second favorite sports photo of all time. I tell AJ, he was on with me yesterday. I tell him all the time that, dude, if that was me, that would be on wallpaper in every room of my house. And he did say that he was trying to get it into a big poster made for himself. Now, my favorite photo of all time is right there. Another someone close. There's Muhammad Ali.
That's May 25th, 1965, I think. Lewiston, Maine.
It's just one of the great. I love that. I've always loved that photo. The Louisville Lip, the Louisville native. Hey, we've got to take a quick break. We've got the great one, Sir Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. When we come back, we've got more basketball to talk about as the portal has gone wild. Coaches are moving around. New Big Ten coaches next season. You'll see some different types of play. And who knows what else. We're back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday, joined by the great Sir Rick Bozich from WDRB.com, whom you should always be following for great coverage of all things in sports, but especially college football, college basketball, the Kentucky Derby, which is not that far away. Mercy. You know, it's crazy. We get all this, it leads right into it, the AAU stuff, and then boom, you got the Kentucky Derby. Followed right behind that is the Indianapolis 500. We're very, very, very fortunate. I mean, we are sports elitists in this area. We're sports snobs. Huh. I mean, when I claim that Indianapolis is the best sports, and I know Louisville thinks that they are a great sports city, but Indianapolis is the greatest sports city in America, in the world for that matter, in my opinion, just because of the variety of things and the proximity of where they are. But the whole region, we're very, very fortunate.
I mean, Indianapolis is elite. I was up there last weekend when Kentucky played Tennessee, and you had a regional this year. You got a Final Four next year. You got the state championships that are played there in town.
Chipotle Nationals.
You got
Division II and
NFL
3 national
team.
Championships now, I think.
You got an NFL team. You got an NBA
team.
NIT. You got
getting ready to get an NHL team.
Really?
I believe they're getting closer and closer to getting an NHL team, I believe.
Will they play in Gainbridge?
Great question. No idea where. In HL. They might build their own. I guess it couldn't. It probably can. It be an outdoor. When is their season?
NHL hockey?
No, I'm sorry. Soccer.
Oh, MLS.
Too many initials. Too many acronyms.
Yeah, MLS is outside. Yeah, they are on the brink of getting one of those. Like Nashville has one, I think, or is getting one. Cincinnati has one.
That will eliminate Louisville from getting one. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, Louisville's in the same league that Indianapolis is in right now. The situation changed between the cities 50 years ago. They were fairly close, in terms of what they offered in terms of sports menu. And when Richard Lugar was the mayor of Indianapolis, they became more aggressive and assertive. And, the Pacers made it into the NBA. The Colonels didn't. Then in the 84, whenever it was, they built the dome and they got the Colts away from Baltimore. And since then they've gone from, Market Square Arena to Gainbridge, right?
Yeah.
Or didn't they go somewhere in between, or did it?
No,
was it straight?
no, it went straight from to what was?
They've already gone from the RCA Dome to Lucas Oil Stadium. They've had a Super Bowl. They've had Final Fours. They used to have the big tennis tournament. It's the state capital. Landing
the NCAA.
Somebody explained to me a long time ago, one of the big differences is that in Indiana, Indianapolis is the state capital. And because the legislature and politicians meet there, they want to see Indianapolis do well. And in Kentucky, Louisville is not the state capital. Frankfort is, and it's closer to Lexington. And there's a lot of people in the state that are not as excited about Louisville having nice things. Like, it's an amazing thing to me if the Kentucky State high school football, girls or boys basketball, are not played in Louisville.
They've been played in like every city in the state almost.
They've moved the girls around to different places, whether it's Western Kentucky or Lexington or whatever. The state baseball tournament isn't played here. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they've let it, because of where they're located as well. They've let it slip away because they are dead smack in the center of Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Nashville, and St. Louis. I mean, you don't even have to mention Chicago, Columbus, but they're in the middle of a diamond of major metropolitan cities that they actually could have been the bright star, but and in
the 70s, the movers and shakers in this town are more interested in the arts and other things. They weren't interested in sports. They thought it was more important to have Actors Theater and the Kentucky Center for the Arts and ballet and opera and all that stuff, and not have major league sports teams. And it's never really taken off. And Nashville has even been more hyper aggressive than Indianapolis recently. I mean, they do have the NHL, they do have the Titans, and they've already built one stadium, and they're getting ready to tear it down and build a dome so they can have the Final Four and they can have the Super Bowl.
Dana Jones, how are you, sister? The crossroads of America. Exactly. It's Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino just really was not going to have an NBA team in Louisville.
No, he wasn't.
And I'm not saying that was the team to have. I think
it was the Hornets.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that basketball was the type of team that they needed to have, because they have such a huge affinity for U of L basketball. And, basketball is liked in Kentucky. Pro basketball isn't like that much in Kentucky. It's a college basketball state. Not to say it couldn't become that, but maybe, and football was probably too big, but baseball, that may have worked. Or what do you think the best pro team would have been? Basketball? Would it have been basketball or football?
Yeah, I think it would have been basketball. I mean, the Colonels were popular. I wasn't living here then, but I hear stories about how they were popular. They were top teams.
They were also pretty. Yeah, they were also pretty good. You had Dan Izzo and Artis Gilmore and Louis Dampier. Yeah. I think they were competitive. That's when you're right.
It would have had to be marketed properly, where you try to get fans to come here from Lexington as well as other parts of the state. Maybe pull occasional fan from Cincinnati. I don't know, but the one thing it would have been is it could have been something the entire state embraced. And now it's not. You're either Kentucky or Louisville. You're Western Kentucky, and it's always there's no like unified team. Everybody in Indianapolis can get behind the Colts. for the most part, right? I mean, they do.
Yep.
It's not that way here in terms of
Indianapolis became a gigantic football town. Pro football. I mean, and that helped once you get good. Well, hell, that helps.
Manning.
Yes, that helps everything. So without question. Getting back to basketball a little bit, Josh Dix, another one of the players visiting Indiana, Iowa shooting guard that he already had a stop at Illinois, Kansas, and Creighton, and as well as Ben McCollum giving him his pitch. But I have a pretty good, and there's a relationship previously with Josh Dix and Darian DeVries, but I would be hard pressed. Josh Dix is not staying at Iowa. He's not going from 80 points a game to 50. And with the relationship, I'd be kind of surprised Indiana doesn't land Josh Dix.
I don't know. I don't know if they will or not. I mean, I know that Enright seems to be the first one that people think is going to come. We'll see. I mean, I would think there'd be some kind of announcement soon about staff and a few players start to commit by, most people say the big date is April the 7th because of the House settlement, and you have a chance to get in on the old NIL money then instead of the new way it's going to be parceled out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they're saying. And I think it'll heat up. I think doesn't a dead period start though soon, like once the teams get to the Final Four?
This week. Yeah. I forget the day, but yeah.
You can still talk to people. They just can't visit, or you can't visit them. But I'm sure it sounds like there's DeVries, Norton, and Adams, 3 coaches right now. I'm sure they're working the phones around the clock, trying to, figure out who they can get, who they should get, how it all fits together. Who knows whether there's any high school players. There's a few that I know there's some guys who've decommitted from schools where coaches have left, whether any of those guys are in play. And you mentioned,
well, you've got Flory Badunga at Kansas, and I mentioned him because there's a relationship with Drew Adams, a deep relationship with Drew Adams, and there's been no other schools mentioned about him that I'm aware of just yet. Auburn
is supposed to the team to beat, from what I've read, because they did a really good job. They almost got him out of high school at Kokomo. I don't know if Badunga's a player or not. They'll have 13 players before next fall comes. I know that people want to know the answers right now. It'll all shake out.
It'll fall into place. There's no question. What do you fill the roster with 15, or what do you do with those other 2 spots? There's 15 scholarships available.
I would not myself, because you're only going to play 8. So then you'd have. But 7.
You're not going to have those walk-ons to fill in the practice roles.
I guess a couple of them could be former walk-ons who in the old days would have been walk-ons. I just think
give them a scholarship and a token NIL deal.
I just think in these days it's really hard to keep that many guys happy who are really scholarship players who think they should be playing. You're going to play 8 or 9, so that means you're going to have 6 or 7 not getting to play and hearing from their friends, how come you're not playing? If you went somewhere else, you'd be playing. You believe how bad that guy played last night and you still didn't get a chance? I don't think that crazy. Is that a fact? Jonathan Powell's going to UNC?
I do not know. I'm just putting it up there. That's why
he's the kid who played with Cups in high school. And the guy that Dusty May got was Elliot Cadow, the point guard. He transfers from North Carolina to Michigan.
Is his middle name Skittle?
Yeah.
Oh, mercy. Ba-da-ba. Malik Renew has told On Three's Joe Tipton, who will be with us on Friday, by the way, that he is down to 5 schools. John Calipari's Arkansas, Auburn with Bruce Pearl, Miami, the former Money Machine, USC, which, hey, I'd take a trip to the West Coast, and Dusty May in Michigan. Boy, that would be how would the irony, and it's going to happen. We've already had let's see, Jordan Geronimo. Has there been anybody else that I can think of that has come back?
In the bits in football, there have been some IU guys go to Purdue, or what the 2 guys went to Michigan in the national championship team, AJ Barner and
the quarterback. Yeah, but in basketball, it just seems weird. For whatever reason, it just seems different, especially with someone like Malik Renew.
Fans are closer to the floor, and you're not wearing a helmet, and they can actually see them and yell at them.
Yeah, and especially with Renew, who was there for 3 years, so you got that going for you, which is nice. And then you've got Tucker DeVries, of course, which is he'll be signing up. They've got to go through all the process stuff. And I still don't think that Darian DeVries wants his first signing to be his son. You know,
Right.
It sounds like, oh, yeah, it's easy. So I think he would rather get someone like Josh Dix or Connor Enright in the fold. And you've also got Trent Sisley coming in, but, he's a freshman. I don't know how much you're going to really expect from Trent in his first season. But we'll see. See him tonight. Looking forward to that.
Are those games up on TV?
Yes, they are on. Like today, those games might be on. They're all on ESPN Family. Today's might be on like the ESPN. No, I think they're on.
Oh, they're on ESPN. Okay,
like ESPN. The remaining games are on ESPN2, and then the championship is on ESPN.
Okay, well,
so
I'll have to stay abreast of that and see how different guys play.
Plenty of good coverage. What is up next for you?
I'm just looking forward to watching the Final Four this weekend. It's got 4.
Who do you have winning it?
I had Auburn before. I think I've had Auburn beating Alabama. Alabama's out, so I think I've got 2 of the Final Four. I've got Houston and Alabama. I didn't have Duke, and I didn't have Florida. I had Florida losing. I had St. John's and Alabama in the other 2 spots. So what about you?
I've got 3 out of the 4 in the Final Four. I did not have Duke. I was not a Duke believer until they beat the ever-loving crap out of Alabama, which I did not have Alabama going, but I did not expect that. I'm a Duke believer now, at least. But I had Florida winning it. I have Florida winning it. And I'm not going to change from that. I've got Florida to win it all. And I can't remember who they would be playing, though, on that side of the bracket. It might be Auburn.
Florida plays Auburn in the early game, and Duke plays Houston in the nightcap.
And I hate to mention it, but because it means nothing to me, but and I'm not saying that should, but it's like when you say, oh, you're the first African-American coach to do this. 3 Jewish coaches in the Final Four. I think it's, you talk about it because it's just something that hasn't happened to my knowledge very often or not. And it's great for, I guess, if you're Jewish, I just see him as coaches.
Bob Kravitz wrote a column about it what it meant to him. He's Jewish, what it meant to him growing up, dreaming about, becoming something in basketball, to see three Jewish coaches get there. And he talked about how it would make his mom excited.
But he talked about hoping that he would do something in basketball.
Maybe when he was real little.
I hope so, because he's on with us tomorrow, and I cannot wait to say, wait a minute, you know how tall you are, right?
We all have those dreams when we're little kids.
I cannot believe you didn't play basketball, my friend.
I played until my junior year, and then I was unceremoniously cut from the team.
Oh,
I was big, but I was slow.
Well, there's a lot of guys getting it done with that same attribute.
Yeah, I needed a personal trainer, and I needed somebody to be on my rear end, so I'd be out shooting shots instead of watching White Sox games.
Well, you got that going for you. Well, enjoy the day, brother. Hope the White Sox bring you a win.
Supposed to get rained out today. Are you guys getting rain up there?
It's going to be 80, and it's going to be 40 on Monday.
It's supposed to rain like most every day for the next 4 or 5 days here. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, not looking forward to it.
I've heard we're going to get like one forecast had us getting 10 inches of rain in like a week.
I've seen that very thing, man. I'm getting the boat right now. I'm going to the getting the life jacket. Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Love you. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks, Jim. Bye-bye.
You betcha. Thank you. Hey, thanks to each and every one of you. You are the best. We couldn't do this without you. Back tomorrow again to do this. Jamie Shaw, national basketball writer from On 3 with us, among others. Bob Kravitz, of course, Coach Shannon as well. And we'll get to it. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.